Really happy to be underway. Obviously, it's fun to get started with this group. There were a lot of jitters out there, on both ends. I felt like, we had the experienced guys kind of be the anchors, and we needed them too. A lot of new energy that needed to kind of find their way. That we played with a little bit too much energy defensively, which hurt us a little bit in our discipline. We didn't shoot as well as we know we can. But, like I said, a lot of jitters out there, and just glad to get started with this group.
With so many newcomers, is chemistry just going to come game to game? How did you feel like the chemistry was today?
Yeah, just take some time to get your game rhythm. I mean, even if you had the same, a lot of the guys are the same in that first group. It's just the game rhythm against somebody else. You've had 70 days of training sessions without that, and so it's typically why you kind of schedule the way you do to get your rhythm, and that's what we're going to keep working on.
What point did you feel the intensity, probably started to shift? I think they were kind of, keeping it somewhat close. When did you feel you guys kind of got it together a little bit in that regard?
I thought they were taking a pretty contested shots, right? I mean, they were just, our aggressive mentality defensively led for them to kind of put the ball down and just attack, right? And which is not necessarily how they want to play. Which was good, and then we were a little antsy at the point of the ball, so that led us to some rotation rebounds that are hard to get. But again, I think I know this team well, 70 days in, and they can defend better than they did today, and they can certainly shoot it better than they did today. But it wasn't, you have a collective group that plays their butt off. It's pretty good.
Alyssa, did you see a difference in the tempo and the ball movement from last year?
Yeah, I felt like this group has done a really great job of getting out and running. We have a lot of ball handlers that can bring the ball up against pressure especially, so that definitely helps us keep an up-tempo pace. And I thought our guards, Grace Townsend, first time in a Carolina uniform, she did amazing. Jordan Zubich came in off the bench, did great as well, bringing up the ball. So, yeah, we have a lot to look forward to.
How did it feel to hit that three? That was a three, right?
Yeah.
How'd that feel?
Yeah, it felt great to see it go in just because I've been working so hard at it all summer. And obviously been making some in practice, but there's nothing like making a three at Carmichael on a game day.
Courtney, how did you feel about the way Triana Chris was able to play? It seemed like she was able to kind of set the tone in some ways. She ended up, I think it was 11 points.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on her performance?
Yeah, it's what I told them before the game is that, you never know each game. I think this team is that deep that you don't know which game is going to be, quote, your night, right? But we know that we need a contribution from everybody, especially the main crew, night after night after night, right? And so tonight we needed the stat line that she was able to provide us for. And, she's one of those players on our team that's capable of that. So really happy for her.
Courtney, Blanca was the first player you brought off the bench, and she seemed to have an immediate impact right away. And overall, really solid game. What can we expect from her this season? Are you going to lean on her often, it seems?
Yeah, I mean, she's gotten better and better and better. I give these two a lot of credit. They've really mixed in love and tough love to get her ready for ACC and just this conference and just this level. I think, we want her to be so good right now, and we sort of sometimes forget that she's a freshman. And so I think these guys have really done a good job kind of bringing her along. She's all of 6'6". She can move, as you can see, got good touch. She went out and rebounded well. We absolutely need her as an interior presence for sure, and I thought she played really well in her first outing.
It seems like when she catches the ball cleanly, she scores with ease. Is
Yeah.
the hands kind of one of the next steps for her?
I think her having to be guarded by Maria every day, and then when she gets tired of that, she gets Alyssa. I mean, those guys have just really made her quicker with the ball and making better decisions. And she's just, she wants to be good here. She wants to be relied on. She knows we need her. And so, yeah, if you're going to let her catch it that deep, that's kind of what's happened. She uses her size well, and she can extend to finishes. I think she's got good hands. I think she can really elevate. She doesn't have a lot of holes in her athleticism, that's for sure.
Lexi and Alyssa, what do you guys think of playing for all these kids, screaming kids the whole game?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I mean, we have a lot of people that this was their first game in Carmichael, so to play a game with that much energy in the gym was so much fun to be all playing back together. Yeah, I think one of our favorite things is going over and giving high fives to the kids after the game, because no matter how you played, they're going to be super excited to see you, and that's just something that we're really grateful for.
Lexi, Renee you've played with before, but a lot of your backcourt mates you haven't played with before. How's that going, and who's impressed you so far?
Yeah, I think it's been a really good mix. We've had new people this year that have made such a big impact, both on offense and defense, and it's just been a lot of fun. I feel like
every practice, every week, we're continuing to play together more and play better together. So it's just been a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see where we'll continue to grow throughout the season.
Coach, midway through the second quarter, you had already played 11 people in the rotation. Is that something we're going to see more often on our bodies, and now that we have the depth for it?
You know, we hope so. We're in a constant state of evaluation. You know, the beauty of film is that every session is filmed and we can assess kind of where we're at. I've loved the progression of the growth of each of our guys. Obviously, if Alyssa can play under 30 minutes or Lexi can play under 30 minutes, we can get more from them in the minutes they're in. That's great. You know, I can't always guarantee that, but, you know, I do think there's a lot of people we trust. So the rotation that we had to play last year with 6 guys out, we hope was a thing of the past. But again, we're honestly in a constant state of evaluation, and it allows the competitors to continue to rise, right? They see opportunity if you continue to progress, right? And I know these guys really need people around them to do their part. And today they got a lot from a lot of pieces. Again, I think they're a little jittery. I think we were a little bit out of sync, and that's okay. You know, it wasn't from a lack of effort or energy or communication, and we'll build on that as we get out to game 2.
Courtney, how's India doing?
Good. She's day to day. You know, I think this time of year is not the time that you mess around a little bit. But she's day to day. You know, really nothing major. Thank God.
Caleb?
She's probably more like month. I don't know exactly. You know but she's not day to day. She won't be in a uniform on Thursday either.
What can you tell us? This lower body? Or?
Yep. Same deal. Yep.
Was it intentional? It seemed like you wanted to get a shot early in the shot clock, not go too deep. Is that kind of intentional?
You know, I think what happened was we were antsy, right? And so I think we didn't go to our second action in the first half very well. And I give these guys a lot of credit. At halftime, I challenged them to go to their second action, and they did, right? And so we don't want to take contested shots early. And you know, we kind of also everyone wants to kind of just get their feet settled, and I thought sometimes that made us a little stagnant. But you know, sometimes we're going to look to. We want to create an advantage. If we have the advantage, I don't care when you shoot it, as long as we have the advantage. And I thought we did a good job creating a second advantage in the second half.
Let's see, right out of halftime, you got that steal, and then a bucket. And you
Heck yeah.
Stop with the shot clock violation, and they get 3, and it kind of separates the game right out of halftime. What was that moment for you to kind of get the ball rolling?
Yeah, I think a lot of our talk at halftime was that our defensive intensity needed to take a step forward, and I feel like we came out in the second half, both the third and the fourth quarter, and really stepped that up all together, just focusing on putting more pressure on the ball, getting a couple more steals and stuff. So I feel like we accepted that challenge at halftime, and we'll continue to get better at that.
Will any of you go to the men's game tonight? I know it's like state hours.
They're not going to answer that because it's 9:00 at night. So we're gonna. If you go, that's fine, but I don't need to know about it.
Okay. My couch is
Lexi,
nice.
you were the only one to make multiple 3-pointers, and obviously you've seen how many of your teammates
gosh,
can
yeah.
make them. Does it feel like that's going to come for the rest of the team?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, we have a lot of people on this team that can really shoot the ball, and I feel like, it was our first game. We'll continue to get more comfortable. We'll continue to play better together, and I feel like the shots that we got were shots that we liked, and yeah, I feel like we'll continue to make more threes as the season progresses.
I was surprised that a lot. You know, I was like, when it didn't go in, I was like, what? Like many times. Yeah, that we shot just okay.
Alyssa, for you, obviously, kind of settled in, probably in that second half, as far as, offense and shooting and things like that. And it seemed like, from a jump shooting perspective, you touched on it earlier, but took, more jumpers, things like that. In your process of, working on that shot, what's kind of been the, I guess, level of discernment of, when to, pull up, when to, pass up the shot, things like that? Like, what's kind of been your process of, discerning when to shoot?
Yeah, I think that's a big responsibility, especially like stepping into my 5th year, being more efficient on that end. So I've had a lot of like conversations with coach about when, how to read closeouts and when to make this pass and just kind of figure out how to play basketball smart. And so I think, like you said, just that process takes a lot of communication and watching film. And I know that we're going to have a lot of film to watch because there is some decisions that I wish I would have made a different choice. But again, those are all things that we can learn from. And the great thing about starting the season is now we get to go back to practice and sharpen the sword.
I think too on that, to expand on that, she's so good at so many things that the discernment's harder, right? Because it's grayer, right? Whether she shoots it from 3, whether she pulls up, whether she attacks, whether she facilitates. When she first came here, we really worked on her footwork in the mid post, right? And then she's just added layers to her game. And so, that level of discernment now is kind of that last step. And, it would be easier if she was more limited. But that's the whole goal, is to not be limited, right? And so, like she said, she's a real sponge. So we'll just, her clips have gone from here's your footwork in the post to like, here's your level of discernment, right? And I think she's really gotten into that, which is where she'll be at the next level, a facilitator as well as a scorer.
I mean, but what's a game that you would expect? You led the team in points, rebounds, blocks, assists.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. These two, they need to do what they do. That has to happen. Just because we're deeper and have more talent and we're healthier doesn't mean that these two get to put their foot on the brake, right? These two have to be good. It's why they're here on the first game, speaking to the media. I mean, this is an expectation, game to game. And the more help they get, the better. But that we're on the gas, foot on the gas. And Lexi, we've asked her to be more aggressive getting steals, and she did that, which is great because she's so solid defensively. I want her to actually create turnovers out of her defense. And you also got us rebounds, I think. I remember one for sure. 2. Yeah. So not surprised. We expected Alyssa to have big nights.
Do you expect the starting lineup to vary based on the opponent, or is this probably what you're going to be sticking
That's
with?
a good question. I mean, Indy will be back soon, so that she's been a starter in our program. It's kind of like we're still figuring out offense, defense, and we mix our teams up. We don't have a consistent 5 in practice. We just keep mixing it up, so they're used to playing a lot of people. As we all know, to play back-to-back 35 minutes a game they did last year is really not reasonable to ask. So I don't know yet in terms of our lineup, but fortunately I don't think they're that worried about it. I think they know that this is going to be by committee as a holistic approach, and they've got to continue to keep their feet on the gas.
But being able to start 3 graduate students and a senior, it's got to be nice selection.
It's nice this year. Probably won't be as nice next year. But yeah, it's I feel like there's still so many new people, But yeah, the experience we can lean on. Trey's got a ton of experience as well. Indy has only been here for a year, but she's got a ton of experience. Renaya, I know you guys haven't seen much of her, but you're getting to see what we see in her. I mean, these guys they do have a lot of experience. And these freshmen and sophomores and these redshirt guys, they're ready. Working the jitters out, they're on the up and up, for sure.
You guys all film these videos that I've seen on Instagram about get out the vote and how important voting is. Was that like an NIL partnership thing, or just something the team decided to do, or how did that go about?
Voting matters. So I think that's something that these guys, Alyssa, everywhere she goes, people are paying attention to what she's doing. So she has an obligation to ensure that she moves with intention, right? And so, I know that's something that these guys are so old. There's a guy on our team who's not even old enough to vote, right? But these guys are so old, they just know better. But, people are following them. So this is a very important thing for them to use their voice, regardless of your politics. And anytime they can get some NIL from that, I don't think that was the driving force, though. I think these guys know that's an important.
Any other questions?
We're back, guys. We're back.
Thanks, everybody.